The illusion of perfect love. I grew up surrounded by images of love that seemed flawless. Everywhere I looked, love was portrayed as effortless, magical, and perfect. Movies showed couples smiling through every challenge, social media highlighted endless happiness, and even songs romanticized a kind of love that felt untouchable. I believed that if I could just find the right person, if I could just fit into that picture, perfect story, everything in my life would finally make sense. I believed that love would heal all wounds, that it would fill every emptiness I had inside, and that it would transform me into someone complete. I wanted that perfect love so badly that I was willing to ignore the warning signs, suppress my doubts, and compromise my true self just to fit into the illusion of what love should look like. The truth is, I was chasing a fantasy. I was chasing a story that doesn't exist. The reality of love is far messier, far more complex, and far less glamorous than anything we see on a screen. Love is not about perfection. Love is not about fitting neatly into someone else's expectations. Love is not a flawless fairy tale. It is, in its essence, raw and unpredictable. It reflects everything about us, our deepest fears, our insecurities, our desires, and even the parts of ourselves we are too afraid to face. And the hardest part about realizing this is understanding that love does not save us. It cannot complete us. It cannot fill the gaps we carry inside. It is not a replacement for self-awareness, self-love, or personal growth. I spent years believing that love would be my solution, that it would fill the voids I carried from childhood, from failed friendships, from disappointments and betrayals. I thought if I could just find someone who adored me, someone who understood me perfectly, everything would suddenly be okay. I thought love would erase my fears and doubts, but the deeper I got into relationships, the more I realized that love is not a cure. Love is a reflection. It exposes our weaknesses, it magnifies our insecurities, and it confronts us with our own unresolved issues. It doesn't hide our pain, it amplifies it, and that was a dark truth I was not prepared for at the time. The illusion of perfect love also taught me how easily we can get lost in someone else's version of happiness. We compare our relationship to other relationships. We compare our feelings to the feelings we think we are supposed to have, and we measure our worth based on how loved we are. I remember feeling inadequate, wondering why I couldn't feel the way others seemed to feel, questioning myself for not fitting into the neat picture of love that everyone else seemed to be living. I thought that maybe I was broken, maybe I wasn't capable of experiencing this kind of perfect connection, but over time I learned that the problem was not with me, it was with the illusion itself. The idea that love could ever be perfect, that it could be effortless, that it could make life simple and painless, is a myth that society sells to us from the moment we are young. The real truth I discovered is that love is complicated, and it should be. If love were easy and perfect, it wouldn't have the power to change us, to challenge us, or to inspire growth. True love forces us to confront ourselves. It shows us our boundaries, our values, and what we truly need. It forces us to ask difficult questions. Am I giving enough of myself? Am I respecting myself enough? Am I ready to face the parts of me that are scared, insecure, or unhealed? The illusion of perfect love shields us from these questions. It makes us believe that love is something external, something that can fill us without any effort or reflection. But the real, transformative love, the kind that teaches you how to grow and thrive, is never effortless. It requires honesty, courage, and self-awareness. When I finally let go of the illusion, I began to understand the power of love in a way I never had before. I began to see that love is not about perfection. It is about authenticity. It is not about fitting into a mold. It is about embracing our true selves. The dark truth about love is that it will never be flawless, and expecting it to be is a recipe for disappointment. But the beauty of love, the kind of love that lasts, is in its imperfection, in its ability to challenge us, to reflect us, and to help us grow into the strongest version of ourselves. Heartbreak, as a hidden teacher, heartbreak is one of those experiences that everyone talks about, yet no one truly prepares you for. When it happens, it feels like the world has shifted beneath your feet, like the person you trusted most has somehow taken a piece of you with them, leaving you hollow, confused, and broken. I have felt that emptiness. I have stared at the ceiling at 3 in the morning, asking myself why love, the very thing that promised joy and safety, could cause so much pain. For years, I resisted it. I resisted acknowledging the lessons that heartbreak was trying to teach me because I was too focused on the loss, too consumed by the wound, and too afraid to face the raw truth of what it revealed about myself. The dark truth about heartbreak is that it is not the enemy. It is not a punishment for loving too much or for making mistakes. Heartbreak is a mirror, a teacher, a guide. It exposes the parts of us we hide from the world and even from ourselves. It forces us to confront our vulnerabilities, our patterns, and the ways in which we allow fear, insecurity, or dependency to control our choices. At first, this process is excruciating. You feel anger, betrayal, regret, and a sense of profound loneliness. You replay conversations, analyze every word, every gesture, and every moment, searching for answers, hoping for closure that may never come. But if you are willing to face the pain, heartbreak can be the most profound teacher you will ever encounter. When I experienced heartbreak, I realized how much I had invested not just in another person, but in an idea of myself that wasn't entirely authentic. I had placed my sense of worth and my happiness in someone else's hands, believing that their love would validate my existence. When that love ended, I was forced to face a terrifying truth. The love I sought externally had to be cultivated internally first. I had to learn to stand on my own, to nurture my own self-worth, and to embrace my own company without fear or doubt. Heartbreak stripped away the illusions I had built around my life and my relationships, and in that rawness, I discovered my resilience. Pain, as I learned, is not meaningless. Every tear I shed, every sleepless night, every moment of longing was shaping me, preparing me for a version of myself that was stronger, wiser, and more self-aware. Heartbreak teaches patience, not just patience with others, but patience with yourself. It teaches that healing is not linear, and that rushing through grief will only leave scars unexamined and lessons unlearned. I began to see that the moments I felt most lost were the moments I was being forged into a woman who would never again settle for less than she deserved, who would never again ignore her intuition, and who would never again allow fear to dictate her choices in love. One of the hardest aspects of heartbreak is learning to let go of control. We want closure, explanations, and guarantees that the pain will end, but life rarely works that way. Heartbreak teaches us humility. It teaches us that some answers are not meant to be found, and that some people are not meant to stay in our lives forever. And in this surrender, there is freedom. There is a liberation that comes from understanding that your happiness, your value, and your peace cannot depend on someone else's actions or affection. It must come from within, nurtured and protected by your own hands. Heartbreak also forces us to examine our patterns. It makes us ask difficult questions. Why did I choose this person? Why did I ignore the red flags? What part of me was seeking validation instead of love? These questions are uncomfortable, but they are necessary. They illuminate the areas where growth is required, the areas where we have allowed fear or insecurity to shape our decisions. The darkest moments of heartbreak can feel unbearable, but they are also where transformation begins. They are where the most profound self-discoveries are made, where the strength we didn't know we had emerges, and where the courage to love ourselves fully is cultivated. Through heartbreak, I learned to embrace my emotions without shame, to face my pain without running, and to trust that every ending carries the seeds of a new beginning. I learned that love is not always about staying, it is often about learning. It is about understanding who you are, what you deserve, and how to protect your heart while remaining open to the possibility of joy. And most importantly, heartbreak taught me that the love I had been searching for all along was never external. It was the love I needed to cultivate for myself, redefining love on your terms after experiencing the illusions of perfect love and the intense lessons of heartbreak. I realized that the most important truth about love is that it must be defined on your own terms. For years, I had measured love by society's expectations, by the approval of others, and by the notion that being in a relationship meant I was complete. I thought love was about fitting into someone else's vision, sacrificing pieces of myself to make them happy, and tolerating discomfort to avoid being alone. But the truth I discovered is that this kind of love is not love at all. It is a compromise of your soul, a slow erosion of your self-worth, and a denial of the life you are meant to live. Redefining love means stepping into your power and deciding what love truly looks like for you. And it requires courage, clarity, and a commitment to yourself above all else. Redefining love begins with understanding that your happiness is not dependent on someone else. When I learned to prioritize my own well-being, I realized that love is not a reward or a prize. It is a choice. It is a choice to share your life with someone who respects, supports, and inspires you, not someone who completes you in the way you once believed was necessary. This understanding changed the way I approached relationships entirely. I began to notice when I was giving too much without receiving, when I was staying in situations that no longer served me, and when I was allowing fear or comfort to dictate my decisions. I started to set boundaries, to say no to what diminished my energy, and to walk away from anything that did not align with my values. The dark truth about love is that it often challenges you to choose yourself over someone else. It asks you to be honest about what you deserve, even if that honesty causes discomfort or heartbreak. In the past, I had compromised my own needs to avoid conflict, to maintain appearances, or to please someone else. But real love does not require you to sacrifice who you are. Real love encourages growth, fosters independence, and amplifies the best parts of yourself rather than diminishing them. Learning this lesson was transformative for me. It taught me that love is not about dependence, it is about partnership. It is about two whole people coming together to share a life, not two incomplete people trying to complete each other. Redefining love also means trusting your instincts. I spent so much time ignoring my intuition, dismissing my feelings, and rationalizing situations that felt wrong simply because I was afraid of being alone. I believed that love required me to bend, compromise, and endure discomfort. But over time, I learned that my inner voice is my most reliable guide. It tells me when someone respects my boundaries, when someone values my worth, and when a situation is aligned with my growth. Trusting yourself in love means having the courage to walk away from relationships that do not honor your truth, even if it feels painful in the moment. It means embracing solitude as an opportunity for self-discovery rather than seeing it as failure. Another part of redefining love is letting go of societal definitions and timelines. We are often taught that love must look a certain way, it must follow a predictable path, include certain milestones, or fit within others' expectations. But the love that is authentic and transformative is rarely predictable. It does not need validation from others, and it does not conform to anyone else's narrative. I learned to define love by what felt right for me, by what nurtured my heart, and by what inspired my personal growth. I realized that relationships should be chosen consciously, not out of obligation or fear. And when I embraced this mindset, I discovered a freedom in love I had never known before, a freedom to experience connection without losing myself, to share my life without compromising my values, and to open my heart without surrendering my self-respect. Finally, redefining love on your terms means embracing self. Love as the foundation for every relationship. The love you give to yourself sets the standard for every connection you will have with others. I learned to honor my own needs, celebrate my own victories, and comfort myself through the moments of doubt and fear. This self-love became the lens through which I viewed all relationships. It allowed me to distinguish between love that uplifted me and love that drained me. It gave me the strength to wait for connections that were meaningful, reciprocal, and aligned with my purpose, rather than settling for temporary affection or convenience. The process was not easy. It required honesty, reflection, and a willingness to let go of what no longer served me. but the rewards were immense. I discovered that when you love yourself fully, when you define your own boundaries, and when you refuse to settle for anything less than respect and authenticity, love becomes a partnership, a celebration, and a source of empowerment. Love is not what we are often taught to believe. It is not always perfect, it does not always follow a storybook path, and it does not exist to complete us. The journey through love, the illusions, the heartbreaks, the self-discoveries, is a journey to finding yourself. Every lesson, every tear, every moment of doubt has a purpose, to teach you your worth, to strengthen your heart, and to guide you toward a love that aligns with your truth. Real love begins with understanding yourself, embracing your authenticity, and setting the standard for how you allow others to treat you. When you prioritize your growth, honor your boundaries, and cultivate self-love, love becomes not a dependency, but a reflection of the strongest, most confident version of yourself. The dark truths of love are not failures, they are stepping stones. They illuminate the path to freedom, empowerment, and connection that is real, lasting, and transformative.